Hey there, sheepdoggers, and welcome to another video on Total War Warhammer. Now, I can't promise you this will be the absolute last video ever on Total War Warhammer, because I'm going to go play it when it's released. However, I was looking over the footage of the battle videos that Total War has done for Total War Warhammer, and there's a couple of things that have really stood out to me, so much so that because I hadn't mentioned these in my previous video, I felt the need to just get them out in a video to really highlight them, because it is in fact a huge worry for me for the upcoming Total War Warhammer game. Now, I'm a massive Warhammer fan. You'll have seen a lot of videos and streams from me of Warhammer, and the only reason I will be playing Total War Warhammer is because it's Warhammer. I used to love the Total War series. I played Shogun when it first came out. I played it for ages. I played all of the Total War games up to Rome 2, and Rome 2 just shattered my love for the series. Any loyalty I had left after the heaps of lies and spin and just ridiculous bullshit that we had to go through the Rome 2 release, and even past that, even with the fixes that they gave, it's still a shit game. The way the game is just not very good, especially for a Total War game, especially for a strategy game focused on kind of tactics. They used to use the Total War kind of engine for a fairly old TV show where they kind of player tactics simulator type game on TV, and people would come in and they'd represent different battles and things like that. It was pretty good, but that's the kind of level that the tactics at one point on Total War was. I just feel like that has been shoved aside to be more streamlined, to try and appeal to as many. It's turned into almost like an arcadey style, inverted commas, strategy game. So yeah, this video is going to basically go over exactly the problems I have and the worries I have based on this footage shown by the Total War series. So that's what we're going to be going over. So the first thing you'll see in this picture here, the pictures are fairly small, but it's the 3 battle videos that have so far been released. You got the dwarf underground battle, which I think is about 16 minutes, almost 17 minutes. Then you've got the Battle Blackfire Pass, which is the original video that was released. It's about 10 minutes long. And then you've got the Azag's Quest, which is the most recent one, come out very recently. It's about 12-13 minutes long. Now, I'm going to go into exactly my problems with these, and apologies for the watched thing. It's hard to pick an actual, I had to go and get the take screenshot and copy paste, etc. So that's why that's on there. I've watched all of these videos, and now the first thing you'll notice is that they're all really short. And I mean really short. Like, the Azag's Quest is part of a, and it's the most recent one, it's part of a quest, in the campaign. So it's your character's quest, and they go off, and it's 12 minutes long. And we're going to look at footage of this, and I'm going to explain exactly why these videos worry me so much, because it's a problem I had with Rome 2, and it doesn't look like it's a problem they've actually fixed. I'm not going to say it's gotten worse, but it's definitely a problem. So the question really is, why are the videos so short? The first video that was released was more of a kind of showing of the battle side of the game. It's not very long, but it's just kind of, it's more of a kind of, here is what the game is going to look like, here is what the units are going to look like. So I haven't really included it in this one, but there didn't seem to be any edits in any of them. You know, it was kind of just showing you what happened. It was kind of giving you information and that kind of thing about the game, but there didn't seem to be any jump cuts indicating time skips in any of them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the one with the dwarves in the Undermountain underpass type area, and it's the longest one. And I'm going to show you a clip, and then I'll talk about it and exactly the problems I have with it, and then we'll move on to another clip. I don't want to show you the whole thing, obviously, because I don't want to just kind of rip out the entire video and that kind of thing. I'm just going to show you a couple of clips and talk about them.
Well, right, let's get started, actually.
Good luck, Al.
Thank you. Right, let's do a little bit of early manoeuvring. Get these guys out in the field so they're not going to get shot in the back by my own gunners.
So the first thing you may have noticed in that clip is when I paused it, the video was already 4 minutes in to a 16, 17 minute video, which means that maximum the battle lasts for 13 minutes. Now, there are over 10 units on each side. You know, there are a lot of goblin units, and there are definitely over 10, probably closing on 15 units for the dwarf side. Now, personally, I'd expect a battle that size to last a good 30 minutes or so. However, looking at the time limit of 30 minutes for the battle, and the fact that the video can at most be 13 minutes long from when the battle starts to when the battle ends, it means that, in fact, you're probably going to be looking at a very, very quick battle. And given that there are no indications of jump cuts, you know, there's no kind of time lapse here, the entire battle from start to finish can maximum be 13 minutes. So this is something that worries me, because it's looking like the battles just aren't lasting long enough. And the next clip you're going to see is one of the things that I've been really, really worried about.
So the Slayers are anti-large, so Al's putting them in against the giant.
Watch this.
Whee!
I love the way, once again, like the kind of charging stuff, the way units kind of leap in, so the Slayers will kind of leap in with both axes and slice, but the giant's going to be dealing a lot of damage. But since there's so many of the Slayers, they're surrounding him and hitting the giant on lots of different sides, so kind of they're dealing little damage over time, whereas the giant is kind of one massive hit of damage there,
massive, yeah.
with massive knockback. So, you know, they're taking damage from it, but they're going to be whittling down its health very quickly. So if Al hovers over it now, you can probably see it's got quite low health. Oh, and it's gone!
Down.
So the thing I wanted to highlight with this clip here is that the fights are over so quickly. Like, that entire engagement from the moment that the troll slayers, the dwarves, hit that giant to the moment where it fell down was about 27 seconds. I don't have it exactly. It was definitely under 30 seconds. And, you know, this is a unit that is good against giants. You know, they're good against large units. However, you know, 30 seconds in this context, you know, it seems too quick. It seems over so fast. You know, you don't have the time to take stock, to look around the battlefield while these things are happening, because they all happen so quickly. And this is my main problem. This is my main worry about the game, and the problem I had with Rome 2 is that the battles are over so quickly, the individual melees are over so quickly, you don't have the time to be tactical. So that's the worry I have. Like, that's what I wanted to highlight with this clip. Now we're going to go on to the last clip for this battle, which is the actual end. So this is the end of the battle. As you watch it, remember that there's the timer starts at the timer at the top of the battle screen starts 30 minutes time limit.
Face.
Oh,
Yes!
crikey.
Hey!
Al the Hatman Bickham.
Oh, maybe work for that, I tell you.
Well done, Al. Well, yeah, you looks like you took quite a lot of damage
Yeah,
there.
I
But
was panicking a bit actually.
I think you only have one unit of Quarrelers in your Thane that are vaguely unscathed.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the end of the battle. And I think you can see, if you look at that clip, you know, a lot of his army's been decimated. He does not have much less. There's clearly been a lot going on, you know. Nearly all of the units are either fled or completely decimated. Now, if you look at the top, at the timer, it's on 19. So from start to finish, as soon as he clicked start battle to the second that the battle was kind of officially over, that took 11 minutes. So the entirety of that battle took 11 minutes. And you know, you can see also when I pause it, the video ended on around 14 minutes. So around 10 to 11 minutes for that battle. You know, 11 minutes because it starts counting down at 30. It finished about 19 minutes left of the battle, which comes out to about 11 minutes. So yeah, that's it. Like, you know, and this, you know, you saw the dwarf army was fairly big. The goblin army had reinforcements. You know, it took time for the guys to come forward. Towards the end of the battle, it was mostly, you know, broken units fleeing and him moving his dwarven units to take care of the final archers and stuff. So, you know, there was a fair amount of kind of dilly-dallying around towards the end. So for a battle of that size to take 11 minutes is just so streamlined. It's so quick, and it is really, really worrying for me that this entire thing was over so quickly. I mean, there was no real time to enforce your tactics. There's no time to, you know, if you were wanting to set up people in ambush, you know, riders and that kind of thing, by the time your infantry units have drawn the enemy in and you engage in melee, and you know you have your cavalry to the side ready to ram into the back of them, you know, in a slightly far away forest, the melee will be over. You know, your unit will either have defeated the enemy anyway, or they'll have run away themselves, and your cavalry will be in a terrible position. Which means tactics are almost bloody useless. All you've got to do is set up a defense or prepare an offense. You know, like if you're in offense and you send in like one kind of tier of your army to engage in melee, and then move in another one round to kind of support. And by the time you've done that, the entire battle will be over. And this is the problem I have with the game, is that it doesn't allow for tactics. You know, I mean, I'm only speaking about what I can see here. But the fact remains that, you know, this is... There's no way to misinterpret from those clips I've shown you. You know, I'm not cherry picking, really. Like the dwarf troll slayers, yeah, possibly I chose the one that really highlighted my point because it was over so quickly. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm not cherry picking a whole load of clips, you know, taking them out of context. I showed you the beginning of the battle, which started with 30 minutes left on the clock, and the end of the battle, which ended at 19 minutes. There's no way to misinterpret that to say that that battle lasted 11 minutes. You know, and for myself, when I played the older Total War games, I'd expect a medium-sized battle, you know, to last half an hour while you're kind of, you know, maneuvering your troops, while you're trying to get into the best position and all that kind of thing. And it just feels like it's over so quickly that there's no point really in doing anything aside from setting up a defensive line, waiting for them to come to you, and just kind of blobbing almost. And I have this real big worry that blobbing is going to be the only bloody tactic. So yeah, that is the first video. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a few clips from the next video.
Yeah, he's in the final quest of that chain.
Alright, so let's start the battle and see how we get on. So basically, there's 3 armies, as we mentioned before, and the 2 expeditionary forces are made up of just purely cavalry. So here's one of them here. I think they're mounted yeoman cavalry, belonging to Bretonia. And as we move up towards the hill, we can see their catapults.
There's Fail Fate.
There's Fail Fate, some halberdiers, and yeah, that's basically...
It's a beautiful environment as well.
Yeah, it's looking really good. And the music you can kind of hear kicking in as well. Really nice ambient music. So they're already kind of on the move, very quickly pushing up towards me. Now, I'm not actually in range of their artillery, so their artillery is going to have to come down off the hill, which is something that if you deploy at the front of that deployment across this little river here, you're going to be dealing with their artillery right from the onset. So I found a great strategy is just to kind of hang back and wait to deal with their cavalry and then to play aggressive.
So I left a little bit more in to that clip than I was originally intending, because I wanted you to see like exactly the size of the armies and how far away they were from each other. And you may have noticed when I paused the video this time, it was 3 minutes 56 seconds in, pretty much when the battle started. The video is 12 minutes and 40 seconds. That means at most the actual entire battle will last around 8 minutes. 8 minutes 49 minutes. That is not very long for a battle, especially considering you've got all those foot soldiers up there, all those kind of things, and the fact that just, you know, it shouldn't take 8 minutes, you know, maximum. I haven't even shown you when the video ends, you know, I haven't even, you know, gone through all that kind of thing. So, you know, it's not a massive, and they do say in the video, you know, it's not the top tier troops or anything like this, but I mean, a battle like this with the enemy that far away taking 8 minutes. So the next clip I'm going to show you is another example of fighting between 2 units. It was the best one I can get. It's not an amazing example, and you'll see why, but here it is.
Can always go wrong. So you'll notice a lot of cavalry is actually managing to get around behind me here and start flanking me, and I had a little bit of a problem here. My Goblin Wolf Rider archers, which are kind of archer cavalry, missile cavalry, are getting chased down by this Bretonian cavalry unit, and they obviously can't deal with them in melee. So I got Azag to call another spell, the Fate of Buna, which is a much stronger, similar to the one I cast before, but it's much, much stronger. And it means that when I attack this cavalry unit now, they're going to be much weaker, their health is dropping rapidly, and they're starting to break and rout even now, even though I have 2 units that shouldn't normally win in that engagement.
So yeah, it's not the perfect example, just purely because, you know, they're getting charged in a flank. Obviously that's going to hurt morale. They'd already been kind of injured before, and obviously they got a spell or cast on them that really like sapped their morale and everything. But still, you know, he said it himself. He's got 2 units there who shouldn't usually win an engagement. That means he's kind of balanced the scales or tipped the scales in his favor. But still, the second they charge into that enemy cavalry unit, that cavalry unit is breaking and running. Now that still seems a bit too fast for me. You know, like it just there's. I can't, you know, it's actually still worrying me that I'm going to be going into this game playing and just not enjoying myself because there's no chance to use tactics. I mean, it was the same in Rome 2. You know, I'd come up with, at the beginning when I was playing Rome 2 and I was streaming it and recording it, I'd be like, okay, so we're the barbarians, you know, so we're going to do this and this, we're going to use the terrain to our advantage, we're going to hide units in certain places, and every single time I was getting defeated because by the time my ambushing units got there, the battle was over. You know, the fights didn't take long enough for me to use tactics, for me to employ any kind of like out-of-the-box thinking, because the melee took such a short time. And, you know, I will reiterate, like, that clip you just saw is not the best example. But still, you know, this last clip, and this is the final clip. I'll just kind of do after this clip, I'll do like a roundup of my thoughts and that kind of thing. You know, I don't want this video to go on for too long. And yeah, just look at this last clip and, you know, decide for yourself. I'm going to give my last thoughts, but at the end of the day, I'm not trying to convince you that this is like a terrible thing or whatever, you know. Just watch the clip.
Yeah, so Fatal Phase actually tried to do another wind blast here, if you'll notice, and it just kind of caught the end of my unit there. Did a little bit of damage, and most of them were able to get up and remain unharmed. So you can see they're always looking for their prime opportunity to use their magic as well. And then we're just chasing down the Romanian Bretonnians. That's basically it. Quite a successful battle, if I do say so myself.
How successful was it?
Quite successful.
Was it heroic?
I might even say it was heroic victory.
Oh!
So there we go.
So there you go. That's the end of the battle. Over 52 minutes left. About 11 minutes 57 in. So around 7.5 minutes until the battle's really completely over for the entire battle. That's not including like the time when the troops are moving and everything. So for those armies, it took them 7 minutes from start to finish, pretty much. Let's be generous and say 8 minutes for that entire battle. Now, that is not enough time. That is not enough time to conduct a battle, to enjoy the look and the feel and the kind of, you know, to look around the battlefield and all those kind of things. You know, it's so fast paced, it's so streamlined. You know, the combat doesn't last, the melee combat doesn't last long at all. You know, you can argue things like, oh well, you know, he had his cavalry coming in and then running away, and then you had the main battle, like maybe he was outnumbered, the AI side was outnumbered, and all these kind of things. And I don't disagree that there's a lot to look forward to in this game. But first and foremost, for me, I would have thought for the Total War series is that it's about tactics. You know, it's a strategy game, for God's sake. It's got a battle map for a reason, because you go down to the level of units and you move them around, and you pit one unit against another, and you know, you triumph over your enemy with tactics. It just seems that the options are so limited to pretty much, if you're defending, then you form a defense and you sit there, let them come to you. If you're doing an offense, you move forward and then engage the enemy. That, you know, there's no real like flanking and then, you know, ambushing and then, you know, luring an enemy in so that you can move around the flanks and come in from behind. Because by the time you do that, the melee's pretty much bloody over anyway. And it's not about spells or anything like that either. It's just, you know, it feels too fast, too streamlined. You know, you can't tell me that you expect a battle like this to last 8-ish minutes. You know, less than 8 minutes. And, you know, it still seems cool to me to be able to control the orcs of Warhammer, the goblins of Warhammer, you know, the chaos, maybe even in the future the Skaven, and, you know, the dwarves and the dwarves are in, but in the future the Skaven, and all these kind of things. It still appeals to me because it's Warhammer, and I love Warhammer, but I am so scared that I'm gonna dislike this game because it's so streamlined. You know, they're taking a franchise, Warhammer, which is a tabletop game primarily. You know, that's what it was, and they're going, oh, all you fans of strategy and Warhammer, you know, taking a turn-based tabletop game. You know, here's the game you've wanted for 10 plus years, and the battles take 8 minutes. You know, how long do people playing the tabletop game take to play their game? You know, I'm sure the people they're targeting this at, you know, not the Total War people, the Warhammer people, would be perfectly happy fighting a battle like this for 30 minutes, you know? A fight between two units taking longer than a few seconds, taking longer than 30 seconds maximum, as far as I've seen. You know, and like, this is... I don't feel like this is something, you know, as a strategy fan, as a fan of thinking things through and, you know, that kind of thing. I want to be able to just zoom down on a specific melee and watch it for 10 to 20 seconds without the entirety of the battle changing, because it's so fast paced. And I mean, you know, if this is something that appeals to you, you know, like this kind of really fast battle system that appears to be the norm for Total War nowadays, like, great, fine. But can you honestly tell me you feel at all tactical when playing the last couple of Total War games? I can honestly not say anything about Attila. I checked out of Total War after Rome 2, but I can tell you, I never felt like I was being tactical in Rome 2. There was never any time for tactics. The AI just blobbed up. Now, admittedly, the AI looks a little bit better in that they try and flank, but for the most part, it doesn't seem to be a step forward, except for from Rome 2. And let's face it, the AI in Rome 2 was fucking horrific. So anything would be a step up from that. The fact that they run around the flanks and try and try and get around the back to your archers, that's ridiculously basic. Now, there is one thing that can be said, you know, for this game, which is, you know, maybe mods will fix it. But that's not an excuse. That's not a thing to say when you're saying, like, maybe this game will be good. Maybe mods will fix the short battle times so we can actually enjoy the battles and that kind of thing. It should be in the core game. Like, and I understand it. You know, they're trying to appeal to people who don't have the patience to play long battles. But really, it's a strategy game. That's what you should be expecting. You shouldn't streamline a strategy game down so that the battles take no bloody time and there's no chance to use strategy. There's no chance to use tactics. It's just... it doesn't feel good. I'm not... The only thing that excites me about this game is the fact that it's Warhammer, and it's a game I've wanted for ages. And the pure fact that there are so many worries I have about this game, the fact that I've decided I'm going to play it because it's Warhammer, the fact that I've decided that I'm going to play it because I want to show you guys this game, and if it is indeed worth it, then you guys can get it, you know, you guys can see it as I play it and be like, oh, no, I think that looks good, and then play it. Or if it's terrible, at least I'll have saved you guys from, you know, jumping a whole load of money down, you know, before knowing if you'll enjoy it or not. Like, I want to do that, but I don't want to play a game I've dreamed about for ages that disappoints me because it's not exactly a strategy game. It's more of a, you know, it's like I'm sure the campaign side will be fairly solid. I'm not even sure of that. I'm hoping that the campaign side will be, from what I've seen, it seems fairly solid at least. There's a few worries about it, but the battle side feels like an arcade. You know, it feels just fast-paced and, you know, no notion of tactics or strategy or anything. So where's the strategy? So, yeah, you know, my final thoughts on this are basically that. I'm not going to do another video on Total War Warhammer until Total War Warhammer comes out. I wasn't originally going to do another video at all, but after seeing this video specifically, the Azhag's Quest Battle Let's Play, it hammered home to me exactly how quick the battle is. You know, and I went back and I looked over the other ones, and they're just as bad. And I mean, it's a severe worry for me, because this is, you know, they don't talk about it ever. All they talk about is the look and the feel and the ambience and how cool all the units look. And I'm right behind them when they're talking about this stuff. I'm like, oh, this looks good. And, you know, oh, these units are the Boar Boys, you know, Azhag, all these things. I'm hyped for it in a very specific way. But at the end of the day, I'm also bloody worried. So there you go, guys. You know, these are my thoughts, my worries about the game. I'm very worried about how it's going to turn out and me not liking it. Of course, if this isn't a problem for you, then that's fine. But it just doesn't bode well. Like what they've shown, you know, the fact that it's 8 minutes maximum until the very end of the battle, considering, you know, how far the units had to move and all of this, just implies such streamlined, quick battles that even the big ones, you know, like the massive ones that we're used to back from other Total Wars, are probably going to take about 20 minutes each, you know, from start to finish. And the melees, you know, you send one unit to take another unit out, and they take about 10 seconds, and then, you know, that's it. You know, you're not going to have time to kind of feel like a general sitting back. You're going to feel like a courier running from one unit to the other, desperately trying to keep up with the events that are unfurling, because the events unfurl, happen, conclude before you have a chance to even really process what's going on or enjoy it. And that's the problem for me, is that I have a feeling I won't be able to enjoy the battles because they'll be over too quickly. I won't be able to enjoy my tactics because they won't work, because they're just too fast. So who knows, honestly, who knows how the game is going to turn out. This is just what I've come to the conclusion of after seeing these videos. So there you go, guys. You know, as I said, make up your own minds. This is me being worried about this game, a game that I've wanted for a while. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's not the type of video I expect you to enjoy, but at the very least, I hope you feel like I've been fair, even though I've been worried and all. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to bash the game. I'm not trying to, you know, put people off buying the game when it comes out. But yeah. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.